Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. Happy Monday, all you minties. Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for your advanced look at the Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus from Marvel Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we're looking at here is the Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus. That is due out on March 19th or 20th, depending on where you get your books. And before I go any further, a big thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks in Marvel for sending us an advance copy of this omnibus. What we're looking at here is the direct market cover. This is the one that's supplied by Olivier Coipel. On the left-hand side is your standard edition cover, and that one is supplied by Carrie Andrews. And they do have a difference in the spine. Thor's in the standard edition, and Hawkeye is on the direct market cover spine. And again, the direct market cover is only available at places like cheapgraphicnovels.com, waltzcomicshop.com, bdcosmos.com, readcomics.com, comicsbugle.com, Dying Breed Collectors, Organic Price Books, In-Stock Trades, Tales of Wonder, DCBS, or your local comic book store. While the standard edition is available everywhere. But everything underneath the dust jacket is the same, so let's shift the focus back to this cover right here, which features Nick Fury, and Hawkeye, and Falcon, and Thor, and Iron Man, and Spider-Woman. Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman, the Marvel logo there, Pacheco, Peterson, Ribic, and Sandoval. And of course, Jonathan Hickman's name there. The Marvel Omnibus logo, Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman. And then you have Carlos Pacheco, Brandon Peterson, Esad Ribic, and Rafa Sandoval, and then Hawkeye down there. And then this image of Thor, thrillingly modern stories of your favorite heroes. And rated Teen Plus, the retail price being $100. Underneath the dust jacket, by the way, the dust jacket is thick. This one's printed at the Mega Print. And here recently, they've been putting out really thick dust jackets. Here's what the flaps look like. Ultimate Hickman, the creators over here, so the bio and the creators. And then underneath the dust jacket are these images of Hulk and Hawkeye, Iron Man, and Thor, the ultimate versions of them. Okay, now before we crack this book open, and I do give the pitch, but even the pitch has a little bit of just minor spoilers as to what's happened before. Not going to go heavy into detail, but I feel like there are some things you should probably read before reading this, because, first of all, if you're looking at the reading order of the Ultimate Universe, this takes place after the Ultimate Avengers book. So it's Ultimates, Ultimates 2, and then Ultimates 3, and Ultimatum, then Ultimate Avengers by Mark Millar, and then this happens. But even before reading this, I strongly suggest reading a couple of other books, like the Ultimate Comics X series by Jeff Loeb and Arthur Adams, the Ultimate Origins miniseries, Ultimate Enemy, and Ultimate Doom. Do you need to 100% read them? No, not at all, but I feel like you get a lot more out of the stories and the characters that are in this particular omnibus if you did. So that is something to keep in mind. Alright, we're going to crack this book open, talk about the stories collected in here, and of course show off this beautiful artwork. Alright, let's go ahead and crack this book open. We have some black end sheets right here. Ultimate Marvel by Jonathan Hickman, the title page right here. And the credits. So you have Ultimate Thor 1 through 4, Ultimate Comics, Hawkeye 1 through 4, Ultimate Fallout, material from, not the whole thing. And then Ultimate Comics Ultimates 1 through 12. And then all the different artists like Carlos Pacheco, Rafa Sandoval, Esad Ribic, and Brian Hitch, Brandon Peterson, Steve Kurth, and Carlo Pagulayan, Salvador La Roca, Billy Tan. A lot of talent went into this book, and this is an area of Hickman that not a lot of people talk about. So, what's collected in here before we start talking about the stories? Collected in here is Ultimate Thor 1 through 4, Ultimate Comics Hawkeye 1 through 4, Ultimate Comics Ultimates 1 through 12, and then material from Ultimate Fallout 2 through 6. The book has 560 pages and retails for $100. Now, very much like all the other Hickman books, there are no covers. All the covers are in the back, but there are some chapter breaks through here, mainly with this red tint to it. Do you like faith, brother, or do you believe? So the very first story, the miniseries that is collected in here, by the way, this is collected in chronological, wonderful order. The first miniseries that is collected in here is the Thor miniseries that takes place in 3 different times. We have eons ago, we have the death of Balder right here, Odin's crows, and the fall of Asgard taking place. And then we have 1939, where we have Nazis and frost giants attacking Asgard. And then we have the present day, where Brian Braddock and his dad are investigating who this crazy guy is. So this is really the origin of Thor. And if you remember the character of Thor in Ultimates by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch, he was a little bit of a nutcase. It wasn't sure what his origin was. Was he really a god of thunder, or was he just a crazy metalhead that had his own cult? This explains everything, and it does it in a really unique way, such as what the hell are the frost giants doing with a bunch of Nazis? And what happened in Asgard eons ago that you see the death of Balder at the very beginning? Is Ragnarok really coming, or is Ragnarok coming in 1939, or is Ragnarok coming in present day? Well, like I mentioned, there's a few twists and turns as to who some of these characters, like the character of Zemo, turns out to be, because again, this is all taking place in the Ultimate Universe, and the Ultimate Universe is not the 616 universe. It's its own universe. And this is where it gets a little confusing. Not to be confused with the new Ultimate Universe, like Ultimate Spider-Man, the one that's written by Hickman. Although it could have ties to this one. This is the universe that ended in Secret Wars, the 2015 miniseries. And it is, to me, one of the most important books to read before reading Secret Wars, because I feel like there's a lot of elements introduced through this particular omnibus, and one that not a lot of people talked about. When people talk about the Hickman reading order, they always start with Secret Warriors, then S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Fantastic Four, and then Avengers, and then Secret Wars. People tend to forget this, and this sets up one big major player and a couple of elements that show up in Secret Wars. Beautiful artwork by the late Carlos Pacheco through this miniseries. The next miniseries, actually before we get to the next miniseries, let's talk about Ultimate Fallout. See what I mean? It's kind of separated by chapters like that. Ultimate Fallout is pretty much the aftermath of the death of a very popular character in the Marvel Universe, the Marvel Ultimate Universe. And this is how the heroes are dealing with the death of this character. Some of them are reacting, well, rather sad about it, and then some of them are just moving on with their lives. But regardless, this is how they set up the Ultimates that's coming. And Ultimates is the Ultimate Universe version of Avengers. They were just known as the Ultimates. Now, why I said you gotta read Ultimate Comics X is because there's a couple of characters that show up in the next miniseries that play an important part in here. This right here, for example, is the character of Karen Grant. And Karen Grant is working with Bruce Banner right now, and she has her own secrets. And those secrets were revealed in the Ultimate Comics X miniseries. The most important part about this right here, Ultimate Fallout, is the creation of the Maker. Now, I'm not going to reveal who the Maker is, but he plays an important part, not just here, but in the 616 universe. He's a big villain, and he plays a big major part in this story. So during this time, Nick Fury's trying to set up a new line of Ultimates. There's budget cuts, Captain America's missing, and then we go to the Ultimate Hawkeye miniseries. Now, Hawkeye was another character from the Ultimate Universe that was kind of done dirty by fan standards. people were not fans of what happened to the character and what they did to his family. And that happened in the original Ultimates run. This right here kind of redeems the character, and it kind of shows where he's been. This happens right before the formation of the Ultimates. And this is where he's been, and he teams up with a new team, and the team is some of the members of the X-Men team, or the Ultimate X team. They are over in Southeast Asia right now. It's called the Seer, where they're producing mutants. And remember when I said one of the books is important to read is the Ultimate Origins book? And that's because in Ultimate Origin it is revealed that in the Ultimate Universe, mutants aren't really born with that power. Mutants are made. They're man-made. And so what they're doing here in this particular part of Southeast Asia is they're curing mutants, but they're giving some humans powers, which is really interesting, and that's where these Ultimate X characters show up. And one of the Ultimate X characters during this time is the Hulk. But like I mentioned, you have this character right here of Karen. You have the character of, what is this guy's name? Derek, the guy that can fly. And you have Liz Allen, who is known as Firestar, and Bruce Banner, who is the Hulk. Those are the characters that are going to be teaming up with Hawkeye to take down these villains. And that sets up the Ultimates. Now, when you get to the Ultimates, this is when Jonathan Hickman took over the book. Now, this collects the first 12 issues, however, the series continued. Sam Humphries took over the book with the, Divided We Fall storyline, which is a crossover with the Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, I know it gets confusing. This is why reading orders are important. And then, eventually, the series ended with issue number 30, and that was, oh my goodness, who was the writer at that time? Was it Joshua Hell Fialkov, I think? That was the writer that ended the Ultimate Comics number 30. Then we led into another Ultimate series, and then eventually we got Secret Wars. Now, Ultimate is a big 12-issue event that reunites a lot of the characters from the original Ultimate series, like Iron Man and like Thor. And everybody's still looking for Captain America. And oh my gosh, the artwork in here is epic. If you've read Jason Aaron's Thor, it's the same artist as Ad Ribbage for half of it. And then you have Luke Ross and Brandon Peterson come in and do the rest of the artwork for the Ultimates 1 through 12. The big storyline here is that this character known as the Maker is bringing over a group of new villains with him, and he is destroying Earth and has no mercy. So he brings over the Children of Tomorrow, and it feels like the world is coming apart. So these characters have to team up together to take down the Maker and the Children of Tomorrow. And they are prepared to destroy the entire world. It's a long story arc, and one with a freaking awesome payoff if you have not read this before. Like I said, not a lot of people talk about this particular era of Hickman. Because I think the Ultimate Universe kind of lumps a lot of the characters together that people kind of skip, especially after what happened with Ultimatum. Although some people really enjoyed Ultimatum too. But there's a lot of twists and turns with this because we are talking about Jonathan Hickman and world building his own thing since the issues of Thor. Some things come to play here in this particular ongoing series. And then after this, of course, he went over to do the Secret Warriors, and then, of course, eventually the Fantastic Four. But this is where he starts setting up a lot of the things for Secret Wars 2015. Now, all the way in the back, in case people didn't want any kind of spoilers, we do have the cover gallery. Because as I mentioned, there are chapter breaks, but no covers. Here they tell you what cover issue you're on, who did the cover, who was the colorist, the inker. And this is the Ultimate Comics Hawkeye covers right here. And Carrie Andrews supplying the main covers. There's also variant covers all the way back here too. Connecting covers. These are connecting variants. It's Neil Adams drawing Ultimate Hawkeye. And this is an homage to Secret Wars right here, the original Secret Wars. There's the variant right there by Olivier Coipel, and then character designs and original pages. Then you have the script of Ultimate Hawkeye #1 back here with some of the art. There's a couple of X-Men characters that show up through here. If you're a fan of the 616 universe, you get to see their Ultimate counterpart. And then your end sheets. Now let's look at the binding. 560 pages printed at the Mega Print in Turkey. You have very minimal gutter loss, and that's mainly due to the eye and the sewn binding. The paper stock itself, it's this thicker, glossy paper, so there's very minimal bleed through happening from the opposite page. I forgot to mention the twist with the doctor that's coming to translate the runes, but you can find out for yourself. A couple of twists and turns, especially if you're familiar with the 616 version of characters. It's a lot more fun to go into the Ultimate Universe and go, oh, that's what they're doing with that character. Okay, but that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on picking it up, if you hope that Marvel keeps collecting these omnibus editions of the Ultimate Universe, what other Ultimate title you would love to see in omnibus editions. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. Check us out on Patreon and Spreadshop. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.